Informative Reaction Podcast. 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 Affirmative Reaction Podcast.
Affirmative Reaction Podcast. Thank you for listening, as always. If you like what you hear, please like it and share it. And if you really, really like what you hear, subscribe to it and get the instant notification as soon as a new episode is released on Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google, all that good stuff, man. So, we have a new president. Yep.
Insert the cricket sound.
I know, right? We got a new president. And so, I would imagine that the headlines might read a little different than the last guy who was in office. But anyway, let's do some headline reactions, man. And we'll start with the most trusted name in news, the Clinton News Network.
You see her ass at the inauguration?
I wasn't paying attention to her. I was actually
But did you see her?
I was actually on the road. I was just listening to it mostly. I was driving.
I saw Bill ass there too. Side by side.
The biggest headline on CNN that we have is prospects to convict Trump erode as GOP opposition grows. Yeah, I mean, I don't think
we'll see what happens Monday.
I don't need to be a rocket scientist to know that this impeachment is not gonna. He's not gonna be convicted. Oh, spit.
I wouldn't say that.
I mean,
they could bring him to trial.
I mean, they definitely gonna bring him to trial, I say, but they're not gonna convict him. McConnell talking about February, or Schumer, saying February. Speaking of Schumer, did you hear him say?
I know what you're about to say.
It was funny, man. It was funny. He was like, "Yeah, we got to bring him to trial because he incited this erection. I mean, insurrection."
So what is he really saying?
All I'm gonna say is, I won't spend too much time on that, but I don't think it's close. Those words are close, but you can make the distinction.
That's what you call a Freudian slip.
Insurrection versus erection.
Was he looking at AOC when he was talking?
Think about that OnlyFans. What else we got here on CNN? Biden signs an order to get checks and food aid to low-income Americans. Here are the 30 executive orders and actions Biden signed in his first 3 days. Jesus Christ, Biden didn't play. He hit the ground running.
You know, I looked up a little bit about executive actions.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, that was one of the things I was going to talk about. But, or executive orders. It said Teddy Roosevelt had like 6,000 or something. What?
It's like they mean something, but then they kind of don't mean anything because it still isn't essentially law. It still has to be passed through Congress for it to be law. It's just, it's mostly just for federal grounds and federal property and like the federal parcel.
What I'm saying is, what's the point of?
I don't want to
executive.
Don't
orders.
quote me on that. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, that's what I don't know enough about it, but
yeah.
He undid a lot of what Trump did with his executive orders by just rescinding them.
Yeah.
So I don't understand what the point of them. Why is there a Congress in the House if you can just sign an executive order to do whatever you want anyway?
True.
I don't understand, like...
I mean, I guess they still got to go through... They're supposed to be able to circumvent that whole process, so... I don't know, maybe it's something to look into a little bit more, the executive order, because wasn't the affordable health care shit, wasn't that an executive order? And then
I believe so, to get the mandate off of it.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's back now or
Who
I don't know if he
knows?
just took all of Trump's and just put a cross through all of them.
Ooh, dude, this is one I was looking into the other day. Miscommunication led to National Guard troops being pushed out of Capitol.
They was in the parking garage.
Yeah, I was just about to say that's a pretty generous way to put it. They had them in the parking garage, and
Joe Biden was handing out them cookies.
They said that the miscommunication was a not even a mid-level Capitol policeman told them to go to the garage when they're on their break for like maybe some COVID social justice distancing purposes, and I don't know, but
Well, there's like 200 that's come down with COVIDs already.
Of course,
Since it's everywhere.
it's COVID, man. It's COVID. What else we got here? Bus heading to Grand Canyon crashes, killing one and dozens injured.
It's not political, thankfully.
It's not.
I bet if you read into it, the bus driver is white or something really bad.
Probably a Trump supporter or something like that. Oh, God! I know it's
Oops.
I know it's really, really early in Biden presidency, but the tone of the media has taken a sharp turn, because as of like last week, you remember the headlines we were seeing on CNN and other
They're
sites.
talking about a bus crash.
Right.
It was like Melania. What was it about Melania?
Something about her not wearing a mask at a children's reading books at a
exactly.
children's hospital. Like she was actually doing a good deed, but not wearing a mask. Let's move on. Let's actually go there.
It's still a negative headline. Somebody died. So they can't even put anything positive up there.
Yeah, that's kind of like normal negative news, though.
Negative news.
From the Reaction Podcast.
You heard of Larry Elder? He call him MSNBC hee-haw. Now, they seriously had that Trump derangement syndrome, and MSNBC is super woke.
Wow, they have theirs. They have it organized in number 1, number 2, number 3. Is that right, or is that?
Nah, that's some top news. The number one top story. We're finally done being gaslit by our government over the pandemic. Oh, I'm surprised to see a headline like that from MSNBC. Abortion is a religious issue, just not the way evangelicals want you to believe. Why Democrats should thank Donald Trump.
Go to the top. These look like opinion pieces.
Yeah, probably so. Some op-eds. That shit is at the top. Trump and DOJ lawyers said to have plotted to oust acting AG to overturn Georgia results.
Well, they failed if they did.
Yeah. That's the thing about like the media and the mainstream media and just people in general, man. Like
Look at this number 4.
the gaslighting is outrageous.
The Biden executive order that has given me the freedom to breathe again.
I gotta. Oh, he probably a Muslim.
All right, who wrote it to begin with?
Yeah, so it's an op-ed. And it was by
Well, there's your answer.
Mehdi Hassan.
Now I can breathe again. Shouldn't he not be invoking that breathe thing? With
Is that racist?
I mean, I think they have you only think of one thing when you talk about breathing these days.
Yeah, some Black Lives Matter slogan. And what was the guy? I forgot this guy's name. And he was in New York City. And he choked, and he was the one.
Oh, the big guy.
Yeah,
was it Gardner? I can't remember.
so.
There's been so many choke outs and whatever.
It actually hasn't been so many. They just high profile. They just went viral, that's all. Compared to regular people shooting and killing regular people.
Right, I mean, they feature so many that I can't keep up with. They become lesser news than say their names and I can't breathe.
Yeah. Black citizenship is still a myth.
Jesus.
The Capitol riot response proves it. The Capitol riots highlighted corporations' hypocrisy on climate denialism. Wait, how do you conflate those issues? The Capitol riots highlighted corporations' hypocrisy on climate denial. All right, so I buy everything else that's coming from the Capitol riots. White supremacy, racism, if they would have been black. Then climate denial, dude? From the Capitol riots.
Why not throw in trans rights while you're at it?
Oh, my God. Talk about gaslighting. I mean, he's like trying to do it with the sticks. Like,
how do you sit there and come up with something like that? You just think about something all day long, and this is what I'm going to write today. These two things are closely related.
Congress isn't safe. Man, that's that AOC bull crap. She ain't feel safe around Republicans. That's
that won't change anytime soon, he said.
Ah, man, I'm really struck at this.
Must reads.
This Capitol riots. The Capitol riots with an S, plural. How many Capitol riots were there? It was just one last time I checked.
There was Capitol Rioters.
That's true.
I don't think she meant that. Though.
Insurrectionists.
I don't want to misgender this person.
Emily. The Capitol riots. I gotta click. It baited me.
Oh God!
I failed.
You got clickbaited.
I did, bro. Corporations need to treat climate deniers like Trump's election deniers. Oh man. White rioters at the Capitol got police respect. Black protesters got rubber bullets. They got tear gassed and rubber bulleted too.
They got bear sprayed.
Bear sprayed. And a lady got shot and she died
right in the neck.
In the neck. So
that was brutal.
Look, let me say this, bro.
5 people died. They weren't black.
I gotta say this, and we can call it a whataboutism. The biggest whataboutism is this whole thing about people saying if they were black,
right.
If they were black. Because if they were black doesn't mean anything. All it is this favorite term that they like to use on that side, this gaslighting. If they were black, they would have got shot and mowed.
Well, do you really?
Like,
or is that what you want?
So we have empirical and anecdotal evidence of blacks rioting and acting a fool. And have we seen them shot down and killed and mowed down?
Not
to
that extent.
No. So let's quit it with that nonsense, man.
I mean, Ferguson was crazy, but nobody was mowed down in the street.
Dude, I gotta
When's
say,
the last time anybody was shot like that with the damn the protests and the, when was it?
Kent State?
Kent State, yeah.
Yeah, that's like some Kent State stuff. And those people,
50s?
Those people weren't black. I think that was like the 70s, man.
They was liberals.
Trigger warning.
Affirmative Reaction Podcast.
So did you hear about Bumble? You know, the dating app?
Yeah.
They had a filter that you could search for people via whatever political affiliation they were.
So what was the filter? Just red or blue?
I don't know. I've never been on there, so
a donkey or donkey.
I don't know how many options there were, but there was definitely an option for conservatives or Trump supporters or something to that effect. And these ladies used that when the DC insurrection happened, and were able to track down some of these dudes who were looking for some box and looking to overthrow the government.
I like to just call it riots, the Capitol riots.
Oh, wait, it does. It says, has options such as moderate, liberal, conservative, and apolitical.
Dang, bump. That's
that's
worse than social justice stuff. Like, what's your gender? Rather not say custom.
So these dudes are so dumb, they're trying to hit some box while they're in there trying to overthrow the government.
Like in the Capitol?
I don't know if it was because they're like showing screenshots and stuff.
Might as well, I guess. They didn't know what else to do while they was in there. They might as well try to get some box.
And so, like, did they just land? I mean, how many days were they there? Did they land and then just go right to the Capitol, or were they?
I'm not. I think it was people starting to show up at least like 3 days before.
Wow. So anyway, some ladies individually and they grouped together on Twitter saying, "Get in, girls, we're going hunting." And they tried to initiate conversations with these dudes and then forwarded all the information to the FBI.
Wait, were the girls like in the vicinity of the Capitol?
No, some of them changed their location to DC for the sole purpose of hunting these guys down. And they sent all the images, all the conversations directly to the FBI, and that's how some of these people have gotten caught.
Damn. That's
can't trust them.
I forgot the character name, but what did he say about Big Brother in 1984?
That is Big Brother.
No, I'm saying I forgot what he kept saying about it.
Big Brother is watching you.
Yeah.
More like Big Box is watching you.
Freedom is slavery.
Yeah.
Freedom is slavery.
Work is something. I can't remember.
Like work is not peace or something like that. The party is all.
This is funny, but actually serious, she wrote. There are dozens of men in D.C. dating apps right now who are clearly here for the insurrection attempt yesterday. Some say it was directly, others are obvious from MAGA clothing, location tags, etc. Is that info useful to all us for law enforcement? It's really this whole, oh my God. I don't know how many.
I was about to say how many people that they got.
Yeah, it doesn't really.
Dang.
The whole article's about the fact that Bumble removed that after this happened, and then they brought it back again, like the next day without telling anybody.
Yeah.
So they realized like it was a bad PR move because they're capturing all the bad Trump supporters, and they brought it back.
From the Reaction Podcast.
You got a snowflake of the week?
A snowflake of the week.
We'll have the real thing next time.
I think I do have a snowflake of the week. And
Are we going to vote? Or are we going to say, are we just going to have two snowflakes? Or are we going to decide?
Let's, I don't know. We'll put it out there. We vote. And we'll see.
Maybe Twitter or somebody, some of our followers can help decide.
Possibly. So I got two runner-ups. Rachel Maddow.
What she did?
She cried. After the inauguration. And so did Andrew Sullivan. He cried.
I don't even know who that is.
Another MSNBC contributor. But my snowflake is Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Oh, why is that?
Because he compared the Capitol Riots to Kristallnacht.
To what?
Kristallnacht.
To what?
Kristallnacht. Or
what is that?
It was a day of Nazi insurrection. Before
the Night of the Long Knives?
Yeah, that's Kristallnacht.
Oh, I didn't know the German term for it.
But Arnold Schwarzenegger went in about it, how he's comparing them to Nazi insurrection.
Wasn't he a Republican?
Yes.
He was terrible, I think. I don't know. I wasn't here. I didn't really follow politics when he was the governor here. The governator!
Jesus.
Get to the chopper!
Night of Broken Glass. Kristallnacht.
I've never heard of that.
Yep, so, what we got here? Kristallnacht was a pogrom against Jews carried out by the SA, which was the paramilitary force of the Nazi Germany party. So they went into Jewish homes, they went into Jewish neighborhoods, attacked buildings.
Is this before the concentration camps?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes. This was 38. This was the year before Poland was invaded.
Crystal Night.
Crystal
Glass littered the streets.
So yeah, you can just Google Arnold Schwarzenegger Capitol Riots, and you can see it was. If he wasn't an actor, I might have bought it. I might have bought it.
So they destroyed 267 synagogues throughout Germany, 7,000 businesses. What?
30,000 Jewish men were incarcerated.
So how is that anything like, especially the aftermath of this, compared to?
Because it's
because they have broken glass also.
Because
I think they broke some windows.
They broke a few windows.
Okay, my nominee for Snowflake of the Week is Joe Exotic, the Tiger King.
The Tiger King? Ain't he dead?
No.
I thought he was dead.
He was in prison.
No.
He was trying to get a pardon from President Trump.
Oh, my God.
And he wrote, I was too innocent and too gay to deserve a pardon from Trump. Gay in all capitals.
Damn.
Yeah, he's serving a 20-something year prison sentence. He also said, boy, we were all stupid to believe he actually stood for equal justice. His corrupt friends all come first.
Oh, my God. Why would he...
Well, check this out. Last March, him and he's in prison, so he has money, I guess, but his legal team repainted a bus with the words, President Trump, please pardon Joe Exotic.
Oh, my God.
He later reportedly wrote a lengthy letter to Trump to which he claimed that he had been sexually abused in prison.
That happens.
Yeah, so he's my... Oh, and another little interesting note that came out of here. The Department of Justice said a petitioner is required to wait a period of at least 5 years after conviction or release from confinement, whichever is later, before filing a pardon application.
How long you been in prison?
I don't know, a couple months. So he filed a petition, but you have to wait 5 years, and he was hoping Donald Trump would pardon him. I don't know. Donald Trump's never mentioned him, as far as I know. I don't know if he's even watched the show. He might not even know who he is.
Affirmative Reaction Podcast.
So the comparison is to any other riots that happened before the Capitol Riots, correct?
Right.
Is that what you would compare this to? So let's start with the Capitol Riots. It happened at the Capitol building. So who was in danger? It's the politicians. The politicians who we say, F the politicians, they all corrupt, they all criminals, F the system, down with the government, we don't trust the government. That's where this group of white people went to go cause this insurrection. I don't call it an insurrection at all. It was just a bunch of QAnon fags and some conspiracy theorists and some opportunists and some anarchists and some people that was like, oh shit, let's go. Because they got in there, they started praying. You
see that video?
Yeah, you had people saying, so now what?
Let's look through Mike Pence's folder or whatever.
Yeah, and then you got the victims of it. One cop died, sad situation. The lady died, Ashley Babbitt, sad situation. I wouldn't say that she got what she deserved, but I'm not going to disagree with that. I just want to say that. That's right. That's it. And then so that's the Capitol Riots, right? And you seen the reaction damn near the minute it was done. The minute it was done, they started doing facial recognition. People's pictures are blasted all over social media, the news, blah, blah, blah. They started arresting people the next day. No fly list. Social media banned. The president.
That no fly list was debunked. It wasn't really.
Well, not.
It's because they weren't wearing a mask.
Right. And I'm not. Well, let me walk that back a little bit. Getting arrested at the airport, I should say.
Right.
Getting arrested at the airport. Kids snitching on them that wasn't even at the riot part, but just at the rally. That's the Capitol riot. So now let's take the riots, protests, or whatever that happened prior to. And what was the outcome of that? We actually, we have some stats. You have the evidence. You have the anecdotal. You have the videos. You can just Google George Floyd riots, summer riots, pick a city, USA. You have innocent people being harassed, beaten, shot, killed. I mention these two fellas all the time. You have this fella who was shot and killed, David Dorn, in St. Louis, who was responding to an alarm of a pawn shop that his friend owned being looted, and they shot him. They shot and killed him because he was trying to. He was just inquiring to the looting. He wasn't even trying to stop it at the time. Mm-hmm. David Dorn shot and killed a black guy. Then in Chicago, before that, you have Brunel Trammell, who just happened to be a hardcore Trump supporter. He owned like a little antique type shop, had posters, all that MAGA stuff. What happens? A protest kicks off, turns into a riot. Who gets shot? And who dies? Brunel Trammell. They found the guy in both of these situations. They found him. That's two separate riots, protests, occasions, or whatever. All you got to do is just say Portland.
Every day.
You just got to say Portland. Then you take Kenosha. So it was like almost 4 blocks just burnt to the ground. None of it was residential. 2 car dealerships burnt to the ground.
In the cars, not just the buildings.
Right. Right. And what was the reaction to that? These people, especially after the George Floyd stuff, these in Minneapolis, we don't even gotta mention Minneapolis, them taking over the police station, the city council actually deciding to defund the police, then months later saying, oh yeah, I think we need to refund the police because crime is going up. You got Seattle appointing some street czar. You know what I mean? The Chaz Chop Zone where 2 people were shot and killed, 2 black people, I'll mind you, in this autonomous zone. You know what I mean? Austin, Atlanta. This is the riots this is the same thing that happened before the Capitol thing. The only difference is location. That's it. And you talking about regular people whose businesses were destroyed, who were killed, who were harassed. There's tons of videos where people are walking up to people at restaurants, grabbing their food, yelling out, saying them Black Lives Matter hashtags, chants, and slogans. Mm-hmm. Nothing happens. Or when they do get arrested, Kumala and just about all of Biden's now staffers were promoting a bail release fund for the mostly peaceful protesters. And this bail release fund, as of last year, only raised maybe $100,000. After George Floyd, $35 million. $35 million. And now I see on my social media people talking about how these people are, they were in the military, they were this, they were that. You go on the Post Millennial and you see Andy Go posting the mug shots of these Antifa types. Boy. And if people kind of do a little bit of diligence and a little research, you can see these people that was being arrested for protesting all over the country. They were the same thing. They were in the military. They were lawyers, they were off-duty cops, clergy, teachers, and that's worse. These were teachers. You know what I mean? So the Capitol riots to me don't compare not one bit to what we've seen over the summer. Like that threatened me more than them storming some government building. And then the very next day, the next couple of weeks, they turned that shit into a Hunger Games situation. It's all bullshit to me. It's all bullshit, and people know it. And people know it's bullshit, man. I think people just need to be honest and just
What's
say,
the Hunger Games situation?
like, just having all this military presence, this big staged with no real people there this time. You know what I mean? In the name of this trying to be safe, like how they did the tribute, how they do the tribute stuff and making it all virtual and shit like that. It just looked like that scene in the Hunger Games when they was.
I ain't watched this.
You never. Well, anybody who's seen the Hunger Games probably know what I'm talking about. There, when they had all the military out there and everybody is watching the tribute shit virtual, except for when they're in the actual place. But I digress. That's just my little piece about the Capitol riot, and yeah, man.
Well, regardless of how you compare it,
it's all bad.
Correct.
It's all bad.
COVID.
I guess I'm more or less certainly reacting to people trying to, make this one just make it Trump pun. Just make it feel like it trumps the shit that we seen over the summer just because it was the government building, which means, and again, this is just my personal shit. That means diddly squat and F those politicians. When you're talking about regular people being harassed and injured, and how many cops over the summer were injured. I mean, notwithstanding them being cops, they still people too. So that Capitol building joint, man, it certainly wasn't no insurrection. It was stupid stuff just like this shit over the summer. This shit over the summer just a tad bit more organized. I said the Capitol people should have just burned down the Wendy's and they'd have been fine.
Well, the problem with that is that's where our government does its business.
Yeah. So
you're interfering with that. Like, that's our ability to be able to speak to one another right now is because of our government. So I don't know. It's like, that's the one place I feel like you should never interfere with. They're in there doing their jobs and they're trying to do the best that they think they can to pass the laws and whatnot.
Yeah.
So I don't see it as insignificant as you do. Because if they can get in there, then who else can?
I mean, the simple fact is they let them in there.
There was
because this is,
they outnumbered the cops 100-1.
This was one of the first times in a really long time that it got this violent, but this isn't the first time that protests and demonstrations was done at the Capitol building or inside the Capitol building, or the Capitol building didn't shut down because of a protest. It was a women's march like 2 years ago. A bunch of black women, you know what I mean? Some white women too. It was during the Kavanaugh confirmation hearings. And it was all posted all up on Twitter, up on Facebook. We're storming the Capitol to shut this down. And that's what they did. They went in the Capitol, demonstrated. They actually shut down the hearings, shut down the Capitol building. This one just turned into a riot. It don't take much for a protest to turn into a riot.
Affirmative Reaction Podcast. 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 Affirmative Reaction Podcast.